having to do everything in life with just one arm. Would the thought of picking up a bow even cross your mind? I met up with Shaun Anderson, Paralympian and W1 athlete at the World Championships in Den Bosch. I first met Shaun in 2015 when we went to South Africa for a training camp. He welcomed us to his club so we could prepare for the Rio Olympics during our winter season. Here I learned he is not only a class archer, but an awesome human being too. Losing his arm and later on function in his lower body has never stopped him from working hard to achieve his goals. This way of life has taught me some lessons in my own and gave me a deeper sense of appreciation in general. As a way of saying thank you, but also just to share his amazing story with you all, we wanted to make this video for you guys to enjoy. We understand it's a bit on the longer side, but we really enjoyed having this conversation and we believe it was very worth it. So Shaun, your first appearance on Triple Trouble, so this is a premiere.
Yeah.
First of all, I want to start with thank you for appearing on our channel. And
thank you for having me on the channel. Yeah. It's cool.
So I first met you in 2015, I think, when we went to the South Africa for a training camp in Pretoria.
Correct.
Back then, I was amazed by, you lost your arm, but you were still positive in life and you were still shooting a lot and enjoying everything you did. And then in the time that was between, so last year I was there as well, 3 years between.
Yeah.
You also lost the function in your legs.
Correct.
But still, you're still enjoying life and you're still enjoying your shooting.
Yeah.
And can you tell us a little bit about how you find energy and how you find motivation to still keep going like this?
That's a good question. I find the energy and the motivation is when I watch you guys and everybody else shooting, and I want to be at the top, and I want to put the work in, and it's not giving up. You know, yeah. I don't know how to give up. I can't. I don't believe in the word can't. So
yeah.
When I got the opportunity to be on the bow and I had to relearn how to shoot now in a different division and everything, I just put the work in and I persevered and I carried on persevering. And those days that I really feel bad and I really feel like things aren't coming together, I've got a good support structure around me back home. Yeah. So I can pick up the phone and I can phone a friend, or I can see somebody at this university where I'm based. So that helps me a hell of a lot. I've got an amazing family behind me, yeah. So that's the most important. If it wasn't for my family, I don't think I'd be where I am today. But yeah, at the end of the day, I persevere because for me it's about showing young people out there who have got opportunities that no matter what obstacle comes in your life, you can overcome it. And it doesn't mean you have to be in a wheelchair, but whatever problem you're facing at that time, I think if you put your mind to it, you can overcome it.
Yeah. And I think what's interesting, every time I talk to you, I feel a bit more inspired.
Thank you.
So yesterday I hit my hand against a knock and I thought it was really shit.
Yeah.
Until I spoke to you again and I realized this is nothing in the course of a lifetime. Something as small as grabbing in a knock is nothing. And to put things in perspective like that is really something that I admire and I learn from you.
Thank you very much. Now for me, just being here has been a huge honor. I mean, coming, when I knew that there was a chance that I could come out earlier, because for me now this is my first travel since my accident.
Yeah.
So we were really concerned about my health and that.
Yeah.
But so far, touch wood, everything's been going well. But to come out here and spend time with you guys at Parkendal, it's been unbelievable. And
yeah.
I always say when you want to get motivated and you want to get to the top, you get around the guys who are at the top, and that pushes you to try harder, and that's been something that this week's really been cool for me. When you guys came out in December, it was so nice, because that inspired me again to work harder again, and it made me realize that all this work that I put in back home, it's not for nothing. It's the results are coming. And I mean, the archery family is just one big family, and I'm really looking forward now to getting to the World Champs.
Yeah.
And
because that's why you're in the Netherlands. You're here to compete in the World Championships.
I'm there to compete and be a competitor, and to be a force to be reckoned with. Yeah. So I don't want to sound vain, but I mean, I've always been a person who wants to compete at my highest level and give it all I've got, and not give up. And so I'm looking forward to seeing all my friends and getting the job done, and hopefully securing a slot for Tokyo. That's the big reason we're here. And being here for this week has been awesome, I must admit. I could easily do this more. I enjoy it.
Last time in Rio, you were in a different class, a different shooting class, so you changed your setup a bit. You now shoot without a scope and without a peep sight, for instance.
Yes, correct. Yeah.
How has this changed your shooting as a whole?
You get that respect for the recurvers that I've always had, but I mean, you really realize what archery is about when you're shooting without a peep and without a scope. I had to change poundage, so I had to go down to, we're not allowed to shoot over 45 pounds in W1. I had to change my whole setup, and then I had to learn to shoot again, because shoot with a scope and a peep, you can make those few hand torque mistakes and you still get a result. Unfortunately, without the peep, and with that, you got to learn how to line up the bow properly. You got to learn that you don't tilt the bow, and you really got to follow through properly with your front hand, and that's something that I've been working really hard on. So yes, it's been a big change for me. For the first, I would say, the beginning of since last year when I started training again, and up until even January, I was still really fighting to get good results and get up where I want to be, where I know I can be. But luckily 2 weeks before coming here, I had a very good result back home, and that just gives you that lift and that boost to get here. And this last week training here, I've been shooting well. I've really been putting good arrows in, so I'm happy. I've done the work, so it's not that I'm coming to World Champs to do the work. I've done the work. Now it's just climbing that ladder and hoping that I can peak at World Champs, and that'll be really cool.
And how far along do you think you are? Because you started from zero, basically, when you started shooting again. It was a different class, you were in a different condition. How far, if you would have to name a percentage, would you think you are on getting back to your top level?
I would say 70%.
70%.
There's still a lot to learn. That's the nice thing about this division. It's every day once you think you've just got it right, the next day you realize, I've done something wrong again. So I would say I'm between 70 and 75% there. Yeah. I'm not near where I know I can achieve. In my heart, I know I can be. I really believe if I work really hard, I could be shooting the scores that I was shooting when I was shooting CMO. Yeah. So and I can't see why I can't do that if I put the work in. Yeah. So I still got a bit of weight to go. So that's why the goal for this trip is not trying to do anything crazy. It's just to secure that slot, and then we'll focus on, after that we'll focus on the next goal. But
you have more than a year to prepare between the World Championships and the actual Olympic Games or Paralympic Games.
So that's where I'm going to put. So now I'm here to learn and just taking as much as what I can. And this whole trip so far has been a learning curve for me. It's my first travel on the plane and long hours and transfers and this and that. So that's really been an eye-opener for me, and there's a few changes that we can bring to the list. I'm really working on controlling the controllables. Yeah. The rest you can't control. You can't control the weather, especially here in the Netherlands. No,
in the Netherlands, the weather is something to be reckoned with, but you cannot change anything about the weather, so you just have to accept it and deal with it. You go with it,
So the controllables we can control, and that's what we've done this week. We've brought things in to say, okay, if it's like that, we're going to do that. But I'm really happy with my prep. I think I've really put the work in, and coming this week before has been awesome. And I got a lot of people to thank, and Jochem from Papendal and your Dutch association have been amazing. And you guys as well. I mean, a lot of people don't always realize when they see you guys on the line that we all can have fun together, and we're all serious as well. And it's really been an honor to be here with you guys.
That's really nice to hear. It's a bit of a weird question, but I've been playing with it in my mind. Let's say back in 2016, when you were at your peak of your shooting, I think at least. Do you reckon you are as good as a one-armed archer as you would be with a release in your hand, or do you think that it's a definite advantage to hold your release actually in your hand instead of having a brace?
No, there's definitely an advantage with holding a release. You know, you can go into the wall better, so you can push and pull, and that is definitely the whole defining of archery is the push and pull motion. And I've really had to work hard now, especially shooting in my new division. That push and pull is so important, because if I don't put enough pressure going into the back, I don't get the result in front. So that has changed quite a bit since when I was shooting in 2016. In 2016, I could push and I would get the result. Now I'm having to push, and then I'm having to manipulate my shoulder to get that pull motion back.
Almost as if you were shooting a recurve and going through the clicker.
So yes, having two arms definitely there's definitely an advantage. There's no doubt about that.
Are there days of which you wish you had two arms, or have you accepted your faith in that sense?
I'm a better person. I've learned to accept it. I've learned to achieve things with one arm that many people can't even do with two arms. And now that I'm in a wheelchair, that's been one of the hardest acceptance for me. It took me a long time to accept that I'm in a wheelchair, and now and again I need to ask for help, because I'm not that type of person to ask for help. So that's been a real hard acceptance. Accepting something doesn't mean you're going to give up. It just means you're dealing with it, and it means you're okay with what's going on. So I'm still trying to deal with being in the wheelchair. It's still tough. There's still many days that I wish it never happened. But I've accepted it now, and I've accepted now and again to say, hey, can you help me? It's not a sin to ask, and 9 out of 10 people are prepared to help. I mean, I lost my arm 16 years ago. I amputated it about 4.5 years ago through medical reasons. I was having problems with medical reasons. You know, a lot of people ask me, would I have a robotic arm put on my arm? It's not going to change, Shaun. I've learned to do things with one arm. And if I look at my kids, my son doesn't even know me with two arms. When he was born, I didn't have my other arm, so he's always known me with one arm, and we've achieved everything together, what we do together. And so I wouldn't say I'm a better person because I got an arm, but my life has taken a whole different route, which I'm very thankful for. And I'm really, I would have never got into archery if I don't think I would have tried archery, because
so this is something that just amazes me, that how you can see everything in a positive light, even though most people would see, like from the outside, you would assume that somebody in a wheelchair is struggling with it, whereas it seems like you can always see the bright side of it.
You struggle, you get your struggles. I mean, flying here was a struggle for me. Flying here was really a big struggle, because it was different, and a big thing I think for a lot of people in wheelchairs, I'm speaking for myself, but I gather with a lot of us is your integrity, and we're not stupid because we're in a wheelchair.
No,
we're not.
exactly.
You don't have to fear us, but sometimes I just feel you get treated not like a guy who's not in a wheelchair sometimes, and that's upsetting. I'd like that to change. I must say, arriving here was unbelievable. I mean, I got treated like gold at the airport, and that was really something amazing. But we have our bad days, and like anybody else will have a bad day, but sometimes our bad days are really bad, and you really got to work dig deep to get through it. You got to really pull on all your energy, and you got to say to yourself, like today, stupid thing, I was trying to get into the wheelchair and I slipped off my bed and I bumped my head. Now I don't have a phone nearby to phone Barbara to come and get me, or anybody to help me, so I had to get myself back into my chair, and that took a good half an hour. And at one stage I felt like just taking the chair and throwing it across the room. But you can't do that because you're not winning anything by that. You're just making your situation worse. So yeah, you got to deal with it. And I just feel if you've got something facing at that time in life, no matter if you're in a wheelchair or not in a wheelchair, and you've got an obstacle, the best way is to deal with it and make sure you surround yourself with positive people. And that's something I've really worked hard on, keeping negative energy out there and keeping positive people around me and keeping and staying positive. Even when I see people aren't positive, I try to keep myself positive, and sometimes that rubs off, and I'm happy when that does,
Yeah, it sure does to us. We always enjoy having you around because you just bring a positive vibe into the whole situation. So we're happy and grateful for that. Something I forgot to ask in the beginning, and I don't know if you want to elaborate on it, but how did you end up losing your arm and the function under your waist?
The arm was superbikes. 16 years ago, I was involved in a superbike accident. I broke my brachial plexus and I torn nerve ends out of which damaged my arm. My front part of my arm was vergrijs, so it was basically I smashed it completely, and so there was not much that they could do for me with that. So what happened is in about 2015, just before qualifiers, 2014, end of 2014, I was really battling with pain and I was having bad blood circulation and that. So we had to make a decision, and I decided to amputate, which was a very good decision. I should have done it back then when the doctor said, it's not going to work, but you still always believe it will come back. So that's the arm side. The legs, October the 7th, 2017. We just got back from the Olympics. I went to Beijing for World Champs. Just before Beijing, I had a shoulder operation. Recovered really well from that, and went to Beijing. Didn't have the results in Beijing that I wanted, but I knew why, and I knew what I was working towards. Got back from there, and we took our first family vacation in, believe it or not, 4 years, because everybody thinks going overseas and traveling is family, it's vacation. It's not. It's our jobs, and we do it because we love it. And so we had a family vacation, and I love deep sea fishing. I love anything, and I rented a boat to take me and my family out deep sea fishing. And unfortunately, the skipper that we trusted ourselves with, he didn't do what he was supposed to do, and ended up getting hit by a wave. And I ended up getting my family off, and on the charter there was another family, and I stayed on the boat to help them get off, and I got them off. And when I tried to jump off the boat, I slipped and I fell next to the boat, and the boat came down on my back. And I got stuck under the boat for about 3 minutes, and I started drowning, and somehow I popped out, and I got to my family, and then at that time I had no feeling in my left leg. My right leg was pins and needles, and I couldn't tell my family because we were all bleeding and everybody's worried we're in the middle of the ocean. And in the end, luckily I got my family. They got out with help of lifeguards and everything. And then when I woke up, apparently I was resuscitated on the beach. And when I woke up, I was lying in hospital, and I got told from my T9, the impact went on T9 and caused like a impact on my spinal cord. And
so it's nerve damage.
Yeah, it's all nerve damage.
And for the people who are not physios, because I have no idea, where is the T9 about?
It's around about just above by the belly button down. So I've got little feeling from here down, basically no feeling. So in the last 19 months, I've had to undergo quite a bit of. I was in rehab for two months. After the accident, I was in ICU for quite a while, and then transferred into rehab when I was strong enough. Spent 2 months there. Got home, which a lot of people don't know, and then my house burned down the next day. So we as a family dealt with that as well, and that's when you start wondering. But out of the light, after building the house again, we were able to build the house that I can use my wheelchair in it. So there was positive that came out of that. Right in the beginning, it didn't feel like it, but at the end, there was a big positive.
This is definitely something that I was on about earlier when when I said to you, you can always see positives in certain things. And burning down a house in any case wouldn't be a positive, I think. But
no, that day it wasn't. I must say we took it hard as a family because my whole family's been dealing with what I've gone through. But we dealt with it, got through it. And then my health started taking quite a big turn. I started battling with bladder infections and battling with this and battling with that. And in the end, I've had to have a suprapubic catheter now put in permanently. So that's helping a lot with the bladder infection. So I know it sounds funny, but those are the things that we have to go through as disabled people. And you got routines. So when I wake up an hour earlier or an hour and a half earlier, do my routine, get my stuff done, and then I can take on the day. But now, I'm quite fortunate back home. When I go to the university, I got somebody who helps me to get me out of my car, get my stuff outside. Because normally when I do it myself, it takes me an hour longer, and I lose that hour of training. So now I've got somebody, and the nice thing is I'm going to start teaching him how to shoot, because I'm quite keen to try and teach him. And the other nice thing that's come out of it, I'm working hard. I've always been working hard on promoting the sport of disabled archery and archery. So I'm coaching quite a bit back home. But I've really managed to bring two of the guys who are with me on this trip who are flying out now, are guys that I brought into the sport, and I've been coaching, and I've got them up to this level where they're coming to the world champs.
That's great.
And that's been a big dream of mine, not just to be the only one always coming to world champs, but to have a team. And we've got a team now coming out, 3 archers, and 2 of them I brought to the sport. The other archer was in the sport and came back to the sport, which was really great. So that's been a huge, for me, that's a bigger achievement to me than just me being what I've achieved, And then back home, I've got guys who are quadriplegics, who are in wheelchairs, and doctors have said they're not going to be able to do anything, and they're shooting at competitions now. So,
well, archery is an amazing sport in that sense, because there's pretty much no one who cannot do archery.
Exactly. If you've got a will, there's a way. And I taught Eric how to shoot, and he's using his ear to release his bow, and he's shooting well, and he's having fun, and that's the most important. I always say to the people and the kids I coach and the parents and that, it's not about all our kids must become Olympic athletes or Olympic top archers, as long as they're having fun in a sport that they really enjoy. And that's the one thing about archery,
it'll give you more energy than you take.
Everybody looks at archery and thinks but it's such a challenge, and that's what I love about it. I come from sports like ice hockey and things like that, and into archery where it's calm and relaxed, but it's that self-challenge. If you do a bad shot, there's nobody else to blame. It's yourself. And
it goes from hectic around you to hectic inside
your head. And that's the big thing. So that's something I've really worked hard on, and it's quite funny. I'm feeling more. I wouldn't say I was less prepared, but I've put a hell of a lot of mental work in for this World Champs, and which I did in the past, but not as much as what I've done. So I'm really feeling good. I'm physically strong. I'm mentally strong. The health is in a good place. So and thank goodness I've got a physio this time who's with me, traveling with me. So that helps a hell of a lot. But that couldn't have happened without the sport or my guys back home from the university, from Tuks University and them. And I'm so grateful for that. And I'm really grateful to the guys here at Papendal and you guys and the National Federation. It's been awesome. It's really been amazing.
Well, thank you very much for this talk, and I mostly just wish you all the best for the World Championships.
Same to you. It's your worlds as well, and it's like we were talking earlier on today, and it's a lot of people can laugh about it, but I always it's when you surround yourself with people who are at the top of the level, you want to perform at that same level, and
that's inspiring.
Yes, and that's it, and that's what it was for me this week again. So thanks.
No problem. Good luck.
Thanks, buddy. Cool. Was that good?
Yeah, I think so.
One take. Doesn't have to.